Hey there, good evening, and welcome to the Bronx Buzz. This is Bronx Net's program where we talk to reporters, writers, editors, journalists, people who are doing really special things in the Bronx. In our second segment, we're going to talk to great Bronx musicians, but to start off, we're going to bring in, I think, one of the most important reporters because he does such a great job of accurate reporting. He is a senior reporter for Gotham Gazette. It is our buddy Samar Khurshid. Nice to have you with us, sir.
Thanks for having me, Gary.
Well, let's just jump right into it. You wrote about the governor's race. You said that the polls are revealing a couple of things. The latest word is that Governor Hochul is in a little bit of trouble. Your writing didn't quite indicate that, although it did indicate that some of her support is falling to the wayside. Why don't you just summarize what you have discovered?
Well, the polls do show the race tightening a little bit. Lee Zeldin has caught up, um, as compared to like a couple of months ago when the governor had a very strong, commanding lead. The latest poll showed her with just 4 or 5 points ahead. Now, no one expected it to get this close, but there's crucial sort of information that you have to sort of focus on in the crosstabs, which is that she's pretty much got New York City locked up, and Zeldin hasn't hit. He's about at 10% in New York City. New York City is crucial to winning the governor's race. Any Republican, any expert will tell you that a Republican has to get at least 30% in the city if they want to win statewide.
And
Uh,
and that makes sense because one of the things that you pointed out, and it's a matter of record, is that 54% of New York is Democratic, and they're generally in this very fraught political era going to lean in that direction. All right.
yeah, yeah, and so that's the questions that were raised about that Quinnipiac poll that showed them so close. Was that people were questioning the methodology of it. They were questioning whether it sort of underweight Democrats, because if you saw the Siena poll, it had her with a much higher lead. So her campaign, Hochul's campaign is insisting they still have a double-digit lead. No poll has her below 50%, and that's encouraging to them. So they're pretty optimistic. Now, Zeldin has, he's grown his lead among independents, which is, also, again, crucial. But if he wants to win, then he also needs to make inroads with moderate Democrats, more conservative Democrats, and of course, New York City residents.
It is somewhat ironic because we're talking about New York City support, but she's from upstate, so even and maybe she's not the most popular thing. I talked to some people who do media up there in Rochester and Buffalo, and they say it's leaning to the right a lot more than it has in the past. Crime is a very obviously a big thing, and I think nationwide. There's been a little bit of surprise that the abortion issue has not resonated or shown itself up in the polls as much as Democrats thought it might.
Right.
Right?
Uh, and I think one person said this to me is that because abortion is one of those issues where the people who are going to vote based on that are already entrenched in on their sides.
Ah,
They're already decided on how they're going to vote. Um, every poll that's come out, crime and inflation tend to be the top two issues. Crime tends to be
absolutely.
the top issue for everyone. And now, Democrats have been saying for a long time now. It's been now 2 years of crime having spiked nationally. It's not a New York problem. It's not particularly worse in. It's actually worse in red states than it is in. Violent crime is higher in red states than it is in blue states. But if voters don't start seeing some change, then and if that's their top priority, then that's what they're going to vote
Uh,
on.
you also wrote about bail reform, which is actually almost the next conversation after this. Um, and there's the article that you wrote. Um, I was just about to say, and then of course I reread your headline. I think Democrats did themselves a disservice because they didn't fully explain to the public why it from their perspective, it was necessary to do this bail reform, and why, okay, there was a little pushback when she became the governor, and they made some adjustments. But there's a lot of feeling that they didn't educate judges appropriately. So maybe they've done themselves a disservice, and this is keeps coming back. And of course, Republicans in the state are pointing to it as that's why crime is out of control,
Right.
and may not be accurate, at least according to your writing.
Yeah, I think the data has shown time and again. Uh, so the thing is, the latest data shows that rearrests, which is one of the metrics that people have been looking at. Like if it's if people are out on bail and getting rearrested, has that changed significantly since the bail reform? The numbers have not. Crime is not significantly higher, and as we noted, crime's gone up nationally. It's nowhere near the bad old days in New York. Um,
Hmm.
but
Which, if you talk to some people, they would say it is.
well, perception versus reality. If people
Yep.
feel unsafe,
That's right.
you can talk to them about statistics all day, but that's not going to convince them. The problem is the statistics have been either deliberately misread or often like misinterpreted to attack bail reform when there's just no clear indicator that that has had any significant impact on crime. The
And
criticism is coming.
Well,
Oh,
I
yeah.
was just gonna say one of the things that you've already mentioned is that crime is a nationwide issue. I mean, there was just a shooting in Dallas at a hospital that is just horrific. Somebody had was not happy with his significant other who was having a baby, and then when shot up, a Dallas hospital. I mean, that has nothing to do with bail reform in New York State.
No, yeah.
So
And there's plenty of states that haven't passed any kind of bail reform, and they're seeing their crime increase. The
uh,
argument doesn't hold.
we're recording this on Monday, and I guess tomorrow the governor and Lee Zeldin will be doing a debate. Do you just prognosticate? Do you foresee Mr. Zeldin being able to move the needle at all, or do you think the governor just has to, frankly, hold serve and restate the things that she knows?
I mean, at this point, it's sort of impossible to tell. I
Okay,
know that
fair
a lot
enough.
of
I accept that.
well, he's got a lot of rhetorical art, like rhetorical attacks that I'm sure he's, you know, just raring to go with. And she is going to be on the defensive a little bit, I think. We've seen in the last 2 days. I mean, since Saturday, the governor and Mayor Adams made a subway safety announcement. Then she held a big press conference to tout, illegal gun seizures and just basically to say that, her plan against crime is working, which to
Right.
some people look like an immediate
People
response
won't
to
that's a hard sell in this, day and age, and of course, she'll get attacked for the economy, but you correctly pointed out this is really a national issue, and for it to be solved, it's gonna have to be solved in much larger, venues than just New York State. Wanna change, gears a little bit, and I mentioned to you beforehand, it's probably the 40,000th interview I've done about the Kingsbridge Armory. You have written about it. There was recently a tour of the Armory. Where where are we at? I don't live far from the Armory, and I go
Mhm.
past there all the time for the last, I don't know, 25, 30, 40 years. It's just been this big building of nothing. What's next?
So the city council council member Pirina Sanchez is about to start a community visioning process in partnership with the Economic Development Corporation. The council's put $5 million into initial renovations for sort of like immediate environmental hazards and things like that. The state has $108 million in reserve to loan whatever eventual project happens. Over the next 6 months, there's gonna be a community process, and if everything goes smoothly, there'll be a plan at the end of
Yeah,
that.
right. It goes smoothly. That's an interesting concept.
Oh yeah,
Just out of curiosity, have you ever been in that building?
I haven't. No, you have to. Like getting in the building
It's
requires
not easy.
months. birds and
I
things.
was given a tour. This was during the Kingsbridge National Ice Center era that they said, "Hey, let's show you what our plan is." Number one, the drill floor is just so large. You practically put a baseball field in there. I mean, it's just
Right,
huge. The other thing which a lot of people don't know, and I've shared this on the air, but I have seen it. I wasn't allowed to take pictures at the time. There is a corridor that stretches all the way from Reservoir Avenue to Jerome Avenue, that is immensely wide, and it is the perfect place to put the same kind of market that they have, whether it be a Chelsea market with different restaurants and different foods, or
right,
even a Grand Central Station where you could, and you fill that up. You fill that up with Bronx business owners, Bronx businesses, Bronx vendors, and I think it can be an immense engine, regardless of what you put on the drill floor. I'm in favor of having an arena of some sort where you can do ball games and concerts and all different activities. That's Gary, but I do think that avenue, that corridor, is immense, and if it's done right, I think there's some asbestos work that needs to be done down there. I think it can be a tremendous economic engine. What's next in terms of the next steps? Waiting for this visioning process to happen? Is that where we're at right now?
right. Yeah. So there's a co-working group that is being led by Councilmember Perna Sanchez and the
Oh, yeah,
coalition
the
of third.
yeah, the Northwest Bronx Community and Clergy Coalition.
Right. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So
And they've been out there.
yeah, I mean, they've been trying to get this done for years.
And and
So
I just want to say that we're almost out of time. Your reporting on this is so important, not because the people of the Bronx need to know about it, because we know about it, but educating the people elsewhere in New York City and beyond. That's where people like you come in, and I just think it's just vital so they understand what the heck is going on here.
right, right.
Yeah.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
We got about 30 seconds. You got something else coming up that you want to tell us about that you're working on?
I mean, this
You
week
name it.
is just elections.
All right, that's what we're doing. All right, that's right. We'll
Yeah,
get back to you after that and see how the things fall out. We
yeah.
appreciate you. You can't even imagine how important you are to the people of the Bronx and the people of New York. Samar Khurshid, one of the best reporters, he works for Gotham Gazette. Make sure you check it out. You read them, and we'll have you back next time. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Gary.
We're going to take a short break, and then when we come back, we are going to meet some musicians in the Bronx that you are going to really enjoy hearing about because they're young people doing the right thing. We'll see you then. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to the Bronx Buzz. I am thrilled because great young musicians in the borough really inspire me. And these guys, they call themselves City Island. I wonder why. They're with us once again, Nick Patel and Josh Anthony. Nice to see you guys.
Hi, Gary. Thanks for having
Let's just for people who don't know, let's talk about the origin of the group, and now it's a band, and you guys knowing each other and playing together. So wait, Nick is on the left, right,
me right
and Josh is on the right. Who wants to just tell us about the origin of City Island?
here.
Come on, don't fight over it. Just go to it. Go ahead, Nick. You're first.
Right. So we started off our band back in 2019. We had been writing for a long time together. I had gone off to college back in 2013, and we Josh was learning piano in high school, and he started sending over tracks to me of things he was working on in college when I was away from the city, and I would just send back lyrics that I was thinking would match, or just things that I
It's like Bernie Taupin and Elton John to some degree, or Lennon and McCartney on some levels, I suppose.
how it
Um,
always starts.
and at what point did you say to yourselves, "Okay, wait a minute, some of this stuff is pretty good. We ought to do something with it and form the band." So now let's let Josh answer that one.
So one of our what we'd do was when he'd come back from college is we'd finally record just on our phones him singing while I'm playing in the same room.
That's adorable. I love that. I love that.
It was a lot of fun, and so we would share it with our friends. Like some of our friends were music majors or just love listening to music. So I sent it to one of our friends, and she was here on some English exchange program. So she was from Italy, and when we played it for her, she asked for us to play it at her wedding in Italy.
Wow.
And so we
Wow. So that's like independent confirmation, because it's not like your buddies from the Bronx are saying, "Oh yeah, you guys are pretty good." This was somebody from another country who said, "Not only is it good, it means something to me."
exactly.
Oh, that's so great. I love that. So what have you been the reason that they're here, there's going to be an EP coming out after the first of the year, but there's a new song that's out now. We're going to play you a sample of it. So then take us from that moment. Maybe Nick can do that now, to the point now that you've got a thing and you've been playing out and you were downtown, and let's talk about what you've put together since that time.
Yeah. So since the start of the pandemic, we've really been buckling down and taking our craftsmanship with music really serious. Doing lessons, building up a collection of songs that we've kind of had in the back burner and making them something concrete that we want to flesh out. And we've been recording this past year, getting together a sampling of our sound that we think is worth showing to everybody, and it gives them the universe of what we have in our heads. And
Josh, I want to. I love asking artists and musicians about their muse. What does it make you feel like? What's the inspiration there? What lets you know that this isn't just, well, me kind of noodling around on my guitar or my piano or something? That this really, like, how do you know? You know,
Yeah.
I don't know if you can answer that question, but I love asking it.
No, no, no. And you get this sense with songs that are just timeless. So when we were in Italy, one of the songs we played our song, but one of the other songs that we played was Can't Help Falling in Love. And that song by Elvis is like universal. And everyone in the room was singing. And it's something about it being universal, whether it's the melody super catchy or it's usually the words and the melody that people latch onto. And a great song is clear. That can be as
It's
complicated
clear.
as
It's almost like a light bulb lights up somewhere inside you. Nick, I don't know, to put you on the spot as well. Do you want to respond to that? What is it that makes you say this? We love doing this. We're pretty good at it, and we want to do more of it. That we want to learn more and do better. Where is it? What is it that makes you feel that way?
I think there's just the need to express yourself in a certain way that you don't get from like whatever you might do day to day, that music gives you. And for some people who do music day to day, they get that from there. But I think, just working on it from the past like several years has just shown to me, and I'm sure to Josh as well, that in order to express yourself and to really show your heart to the world, I guess.
That's fair. That's fair. Wanting to share something that's inside you to other people, I think that makes a lot of sense to me. All right, so the new track is called "Call Your Name." Do you want to tell us something about it before we play a little piece of it? Somebody?
Origin.
I would say play it for someone you really miss, but Nick can give more color on the song.
Sure. I won't dive too deep into it, but basically, back at
Early 2021.
early 2021, yeah, there was a period where cases were going up in the city of COVID, and I particularly had to quarantine for my girlfriend for several months just
Because you had to do it, yeah.
somebody else caught, and so there was a period of time where we could only Zoom with each other, and communication was not as strong as it was before when we could see each other in person, and so I wrote this song sort of as like I miss you.
Well, but it's a beautiful thing. Josh, did you say to yourself right away, "Oh, he's onto something here," or did you say, "I'm not so sure that this is what we want to do"?
No, it was
Loved
kind
it.
of one of those right away things because usually I'll just play something on the piano, maybe I'll sing a little something, then he'll come back and kind of iron it out. And when he sang on it, we were like, "Yep."
That's it. Do you do that in collaboration in the same room, or do you, like Elton and Bernie, sent stuff to each other, or do you get in the room together, like John and Paul, and sat there and play it to each other?
Yeah, we usually play it together.
That's fair.
I'll play around on the piano by myself, but I'll show him once I'm around him.
Got it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the new track, "Call Your Name." Now you've got a little background about it. Let's take a listen.
I'm caged inside and can't share all of me. I'm talking to a screen that can't feel anything. The quiet nights feel so incomplete without you next to me to be my remedy. It's in my head, all the little things I'm seeing you do. I feel the sound of my heart, the clouds drift apart as your love pierces through my mind. Lately love ain't the same when there's nothing to trust and the fear makes me call your name.
All right, there it is. We could go here forever. Beautiful, wonderful. I want to ask about musicians and the recording process. Obviously, maybe I shouldn't say obviously, because of course you can overdub and double track and do all that. Did you bring in other musicians?
Yes, this track is filled to the brim with friends and other musicians. The producer, shout out Adam Tilzer. We've been working with him on most of the songs from the EP. He produced this song. We played this for him, and right away he was like, "I hear strings, I hear horns." And
Oh, that's beautiful.
we had our own ideas with like guitar and piano, but he really took it to the next level, and it's like he knew exactly who to bring on.
In the old days, you'd have to book a recording studio and a big studio and do things. Of course, nowadays, I mean, for goodness sakes, you could just practically do it on one of these. Where did you record it? Did you have to do something special, or did you just kind of set up where you are? Did you find a garage? I mean, what did you do to make it happen?
Yeah, we
Go ahead, Nick. Go ahead, tell us.
so for the drums and bass, we did a session at Big Orange Sheep, a studio in Brooklyn, and it was an amazing day. We did several tracks that day with our friends Daniel Bradley on drums and KJ on bass. And it was an incredible day.
Do you see this now as this is our band, or are these really session musicians and you're going to mix and match depending on what you've got going on?
Well, I mean, the vibe that we get with everybody has like been incredible. We've done live shows with them. We try to do everything with like the
Right.
set musicians that we have. Of course, they are set musicians, but we try to like.
You did that. We may have some footage of it, of that session in the Bowery too, right? Was that downtown? And was that a unique thing? Like we finally get a chance to play out, or is that the kind of thing you're doing regularly?
That was our first show, actually.
Wow. First show ever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
first show with
Oh,
the band.
congratulations. And the two things then. Number one, how did it go? And number two, what did you learn from it that you're going to do well or not as do even better the next time?
Do you want to give one?
Yeah. First of all, it was one of the best experiences of our lives.
Really? So you finally played out, right?
Yeah,
Oh, that's so great.
when it's me and Nick, it's a whole nother thing when literally everyone who played with us on that stage was on the track for this song and several other songs. So it was amazing to go from just the two of us in our living room, ideas in our head, to now 7
Wow.
and playing in front of other people. And that was one of the most amazing experiences. The crowd was packed.
Ah.
It seemed like it was, I mean, I only saw the clip of it. It seemed like it was very well received and there was real good energy. I mean, that, you know.
They were singing along.
Oh,
Songs
there
that
you
aren't
go.
out yet. Like songs that like we haven't, here's some
Isn't
songs.
that beautiful?
Like, it was amazing.
And then the second part of my question, the much more difficult part, is you learned something that you said, well, this is what we're going to do again, or, you know, this is what we want to do better. You know, since art is always a work in progress.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, there's like technical things that we learned in terms of our musicianship and everything. But
Okay.
I think one of the biggest things,
We only got about 30 seconds, so go ahead.
I mean, you have fun on stage. You're not, you can't be too critical of yourself because people are going to receive it well.
You got to rock, right? You got to rock and roll a little bit. Well, that's and there is tremendous energy in that and freedom in that, and finally a realization that what we've been doing really is good. And so I'm applauding here. Other people should be applauding. So we look for City Island. We look for the EP. There will be other tracks on it, we assume.
Mhm.
Yep.
Right. And you'll be back here when it comes out so we can promote it and show people and play it for people and all that. And any gigs coming up that we should know about? Not
Yes.
yet. Oh,
Saturday, November 19th at
oh,
Heaven Can Wait in the city, not too far from the Bowery Electric.
where is that? I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Where is it?
Oh, Heaven Can Wait is the name of the
Heaven Can
venue.
Wait.
It's
All
near Bowery Electric. We are on at 7 p.m. Full band.
Great.
Family's back.
Great. Listen, congratulations on it. Bronx music takes many forms, and you guys are right at the cutting edge of it. And everybody in the Bronx is so proud of you. And we wish you good luck. And we certainly will continue to promote and talk with you guys as stuff comes out. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
The track is Call Your Name. Look for it on all streaming services. I saw it on Spotify. You can do it anything you like. Thanks, guys. Nick Patel, Josh Anthony, City Island. All right, that will do it for the Bronx Buzz. Congratulations to Nick and Josh for being great Bronx people making music, and we need as much of that as we can. Make sure you look for Call Your Name on all the streaming services. It's out there, and we'll look for their new EP after the beginning of the new year. And we'll see you next week. Good night.